This introduces the core concept, scikit-learn's process_routing function, which is crucial for managing metadata, additional information, within machine learning pipelines. It's like a traffic controller for data, determining which parts of your pipeline receive what information. We'll explore how this works in the following questions. This sets the context. We're working with the machine learning pipeline, a sequence of steps involving data transformations, transformers, and a final model, estimator. Think of a factory assembly line. Each transformer is a step in processing raw materials, and the estimator is the final assembly. The metadata is like extra information attached to the product at different stages. The core question is about how process_routing works. It tests whether you understand how process_routing handles data flowing through the pipeline, like deciding which parts of the factory assembly line get specific information. This option suggests that process_routing sends all metadata to every step in the pipeline. It's like saying the factory sends all the paperwork to every station, whether relevant or not. Here, process_routing is presented as a way to selectively send metadata to specific steps. It's like our factory assembly line that selectively sends particular information to only the relevant stations. This option limits process_routing to just numerical data. This is like stating the factory only handles numbers, which isn't likely. We will evaluate if this is accurate. This option says process_routing can prevent sensitive information from reaching some steps. It's like protecting confidential documents from unauthorized access. This summarizes the overall purpose of the process_routing function. It controls where metadata goes within the scikit-learn pipeline. It's about regulating the information flow, like managing the paperwork in our factory example. This refers to the core function within scikit-learn's metadata_routing module. It's like a traffic controller for metadata within your machine learning pipeline. It decides which pieces of information are passed along to each stage of your pipeline. Think of it as a gatekeeper, deciding what data each step gets to see. This describes the key functionality of processrouting. It doesn't send all metadata to every step. Instead, it allows you to specifically choose which metadata goes where. Imagine having fine-grained control over the flow of information. This selective routing is very powerful for managing what information different parts of the pipeline get access to. This highlights another crucial aspect of processrouting. It's not just about routing, it's also about filtering. You can use it to stop certain types of metadata from reaching specific parts of your pipeline. For example, you might want to prevent sensitive data from reaching a step that doesn't need it. This refers to the core function at the heart of the quiz. It's all about how scikit-learn manages metadata, that extra information, as it flows through your machine learning pipelines. Think of it as a traffic controller for your data's extra information. This explains what the process_routing function does. It doesn't just let metadata go everywhere. It controls which parts of your pipeline, like transformers or estimators, get to see which bits of extra information. Think of this as controlling exactly which elements of the pipeline have access to which parts of the metadata information. This sets the stage. The whole quiz is about how scikit-learn, a popular machine learning library, handles extra data, metadata, within pipelines, a sequence of steps in a machine learning model. This quiz is particularly interested in how metadata is handled. This is the context for the metadata routing. A pipeline in machine learning is a sequence of steps to process data, typically including transformations, changing data format, and an estimator, the model itself. Think of it as an assembly line for your data. Metadata flows through this assembly line. This question asks you to identify correct statements about the process_routing function in scikit-learn's utils. Metadata_routing module. This function controls how metadata flows through a machine learning pipeline. It's a multiple-choice question testing your knowledge of the function's capabilities. Understanding how metadata is handled is crucial in building efficient and robust machine learning pipelines. The term, routed metadata, refers to the metadata, data about data, that is selectively passed to certain steps in a pipeline. This is the heart of the process_routing functionality. Deciding where certain data about your data should go. Think of it like directing mail. Some packages go to certain addresses, others to different ones. This refers to the individual stages of a machine learning pipeline, e.g., pre-processing steps, a model. Process_routing lets you control which stages receive what kind of metadata. For instance, you might want certain sensitive data only available to specific stages of your model. Not all of them. This question assesses your understanding of the Sklearn, utils, metadata_routing, process_routing function. It focuses on how metadata, additional information about data, flows through a machine learning pipeline and how process_routing controls that flow. Think of a pipeline as an assembly line. Metadata is like extra instructions attached to parts moving down that line. Process_routing decides which parts get which instructions. Let's analyze each statement one by one. This statement is incorrect. Process_routing doesn't automatically send all metadata to every step in a pipeline. The whole point of process_routing is to give you control over what happens to the metadata. It's like selectively sending specific instructions to particular stations on the assembly line. This is correct. Process_routing's main function is to selectively route metadata. You can set rules to decide which metadata goes to which part of the pipeline. Think of it as sending specific instructions only to the relevant assembly line stations. This statement is also correct. By selectively routing metadata, we can prevent sensitive information from reaching parts of the pipeline that don't need it. This is like protecting sensitive information from reaching unauthorized stations in our assembly line analogy. This ensures data privacy and security. In machine learning, a pipeline is a sequence of steps or transformers applied to data. Imagine it as an assembly line where data is processed sequentially through various stages. Each step might perform a specific task like data cleaning, feature scaling, or model training. Metadata refers to extra information about data, providing context or characteristics. It's like adding labels, descriptions, or extra details to the data. For example, metadata could include the source of the data, units of measurement, or any other relevant information. This is a scikit-learn function that controls how metadata flows through a pipeline. It acts as a traffic controller, determining which metadata reaches each step. You can use it to prevent the propagation of specific metadata to specific steps within the pipeline. This refers to the specific metadata that has been chosen to be passed to certain steps in the pipeline via process_routing. Think of it like selecting specific instructions to be sent to certain parts of an assembly line. These are the individual stages in a machine learning pipeline. These can range from pre-processing steps like data cleaning and feature engineering to the final model training and prediction steps. Each step plays a crucial role in the overall pipeline's functioning. This line introduces the topic. Scikit-learn's utilsmetadatarouting module and its processrouting function. We'll be focusing on understanding how this function handles metadata within machine learning pipelines. Think of metadata as extra information attached to your data, like labels or descriptions. The processrouting function helps us control where this metadata goes. This line presents the core quiz question. The question asks about what processrouting does and doesn't do in terms of handling metadata within a pipeline in scikit-learn. It's a multiple-choice question and we'll need to consider each statement carefully. Option A states that processrouting sends all metadata to every step of the pipeline. This is something we'll need to consider against the actual function's behavior. Does it do this, or does it allow for more control? Option B suggests that processrouting lets us choose which parts of the pipeline get specific metadata. This is a key aspect to evaluate. Does processrouting give us this level of granular control, or is it more of a one-size-fits-all approach? Option D proposes that processrouting can stop certain metadata from reaching sensitive parts of the pipeline. This is an important security aspect to consider. Does processrouting have the capabilities to act as a gatekeeper of sensitive data?